Right. Well, I welcome you on this Sunday. Um, Let me go ahead and open with a word of prayer. We give thanks for this moment in time for us to come together. It's like minds with an intention to raise our frequency towards divinity, acknowledging our divinity, giving thanks for the privilege of being divine beings and the reality of God, the reality that we are one with our Creator, that as the Creator is, we are. And we give thanks for that. We give thanks for this human experience. We give thanks for everything that it come with, the ebbs, the flows, the what's perceived to be good and bad, the highs, the lows, the hills, the valleys. We give thanks for it all. We give thanks for the lessons in it all and the blessings of it all. May our hearts continue to stay light. May our mind continue to stay clear and open for guidance so that we are shown the way. And may we go down the straight path and not the path that is crooked, that is full of doubt, worry, anxiety, fear. May when we do feel these human experiences, may we be able to quickly drop into our heart space and remember God. We give thanks in advance for that mercy and for that grace. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Oh, amen. I mean. All right. I want to share something that's in the chat room. It says, hello, everyone. Give thanks and send love to give thanks and send love to each of you. I'm requesting prayer because there is some heavy grief and despair laying in my womb and at the base of my spine, missing my mama heavy, releasing attachments intensely. And it's so interesting that I read this because for the last almost month now, I have observed and noticed a certain energy that's present. And it can be described as a depression type energy, a heavy energy, an energy of despair, an energy of frustration, an energy of heavy. It's a heavy energy. It's a real heavy energy. And there has been some talk about this time by some individuals that I respect as far as their interpretation of what's going on cosmically, what's going on energetically in the world. And there has been somewhat of a warning or caution to stay on your eagle's perch, stay in your heart space, and really work with the heart chakra. There has been a lot of advisement from, like I said, people who I respect and honor and have benefited from their guidance and their teachings. And they were saying, because there is a shift happening, there is a somewhat of a dismantling, not just in the physical world, but in the energetic and spiritual world. There are shifts happening right now, great shifts, wonderful shifts, needed shifts. All things are needed, all things are in order. So these things are going on. However, when we do experience these transitions and shifts, we can experience a shift in emotions and feelings. And these things impact our heart, they impact our womb or our sacral chakra. And ultimately, if once that center, that heart space is impacted, the upper and the lower chakras are impacted as well. Another way to say that, your mind, your mental can be impacted. The way you think, the way you perceive, the way you're seeing, your feelings, that's your lower chakra, your feelings can be impacted. And so I say to you, do the best that you can to lighten your heart on a daily basis, sometimes hourly basis. Work with your heart chakra, do your heart chakra work with your releasing stones. I know I just intuitively picked up my Black obsidian stone a couple of days ago and have been wearing it. Work with your tools, work with the things that we have to support us on this journey, because it is a journey. And although we would like for every day to feel, all happy, go lucky, and sunshine. Although we would love to feel every moment that way, um, it's not a reality all the time. But as long as we can remember that what does stay the same and consistent is the reality of God. No matter what is happening, no matter what it looks like, what it feels like, always remember God. That is key. Remembering God. I need my handkerchief now. Where my sister at? Who said she's gonna give me my handkerchief? Remember God. And I give thanks for the Transformational Circle group. We study every Wednesday. We do metaphysical Bible study every Wednesday. And we're able to study the stories that have been depicted, at least in scripture, in the Bible, which these stories, they really highlight the journey of the heart and the mind and the soul as we live this human experience. And in every story that we read about, whether we're reading about the story of Joshua or Job or the story of Jesus or the story of Noah, Moses, no matter what story we're reading about, a part of that story is talking about the ebbs and flows of life and what's needed, what's necessary during that time, because at the end of the day, at the beginning and the end of the day, God is. What remains the same is omnipresence, omniscience, the all-powerful creator. What remains consistent and a reality is that nothing stays the same. Life force energy, because of the reality of life force energy, things are always expanding and shifting and growing. And so the more we lighten our hearts and let go of the wheel, the more we're able to move with the ebbs and flows. And let go in the wheel could be let going in your time of sadness and despair. Let go, put it in your prayers that that it will pass. Get into your prayers, get into your affirmations, even in those moments. I like this song, You Are Welcome. It's like welcome the creator's energy in when you feel that. And in that, don't try to make yourself not feel what you're feeling. Just welcome that energy in. Be where you are, but never forget to welcome God in. Never forget to stay open. Even in don't strive to be happy. Don't strive to not feel sad. Don't strive. Just release, let go. So what I always advise is remember the breath, breathe, rest, walk, stretch. In those spaces where you're going to feel what you feel because it is what it is. Don't try to think too much. Don't just be. Try to give yourself grace, and just allow. And in that, be prayerful, may my heart lighten. And those prayers, when I say, soon as you begin to allow yourself to just drop into your heart space and present your prayers, the relief comes, and just give thanks. And if that release has to come, that relief have to come moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day, allow it to. Don't allow yourself to go into, well, what is this? And why I feel like this? And why? Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Because this culture, this society has obsessively intellectualized everything. And so when we're going through it, you know, an intellectualization of it could very well be the attempt to label it and name it. And once you name something, you claim it. So what I prefer to name it is the ebbs and flows of life. But because there's an up, there's a down. And because there's a down, guess what, baby? There's an up. Okay? We not naming and claiming nothing but the reality of God. And I'm going to remember God and remember that in all things there is good. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to remember that in my pain comes the release of weakness. I'm going to remember that in my pain comes power. In my pain comes overcoming. And in that overcoming comes a strengthening of resilience, a strengthening of faith. So I'm gonna release my attachment to wanting to run away from it and hurry it up. You know, in all things, try your best to give thanks. Give thanks for the glorious moments, because the mind will have you feel, when you're in those moments that don't feel so wonderful, the mind will have you feel like it's just all gloom and doom. And the reality is that's not the truth, because we are blessed and highly favored. We experience grace every day. We experience mercies every day. We are blessed. We are blessed with inner peace, inner love, you know, inner expansion, and we're blessed with outward peace, outward love, outward expansion. And that's an everyday thing. So in your, if you are experiencing, you know, that space and time, that energy comes where it feels heavy, it feels painful, it feels like despair, it feels like those things. Breathe. And breathe some more. Breathe and breathe some more. Don't think. Don't think. Just breathe. Relax. And when you have gotten to a space where you feel lighter, then drop into prayer. Drop into your heart and begin to pray. If it's tough for you in the moment to try to pray, write. And it's okay to write down what you feel. Just don't say I am with it. I feel. I am sad right now. You're not sad. You feel sad. Feel sad. I feel lonely. I feel these things. And then begin to speak into existence what you desire. You know, I desire, or may I, or I pray for, however you say it. Because when we're in those spaces, we're at a certain vibration. And in order for us to move from those vibrations, we have to start moving from those vibrations. And even in you saying what it is that you rather feel, those vibrations begin to shift. So as you say, I feel sad, and my desire is to be happy. My desire is to be at peace. My desire is to experience joy and love. I see myself doing da, 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 da. Let it start to move that direction. And just in you expressing that desire, that is your prayer, that is your move, that is you moving towards the vibration in order to begin to be a vibrational match to your joy and your peace and your happiness. Okay? It says in the miracle, when you look at the miracle stories of the man they call Jesus, Whenever he performed miracles, he does it by just proclaiming it. People, they came say, my son is dead, or my family member is dead. He is not dead, he is yet alive. The power of the word. Abraham Hicks says the reason why Jesus was able to do so many miracles is because he never saw the sickness in the people who proclaimed to be sick. He never saw it, never claimed it, never named it. He only said what it is. You are well, rise up, And so let us not speak these things. Be careful with your words during those vulnerable times. Be careful with your speech. Be careful who you're talking to about it. Because when you're talking to underdeveloped beings, you may very well be just feeding that vortex to be able to experience more of it. If you need to speak to someone about it, please do reach out to someone that you know will help pour into you, pour into your heart, your mind, your soul, something that is positive, something that is life-giving, something that can help you to turn that corner towards something higher. And it should be root level conversations, meaning it should have the essence of God in it. Because we know this material world can help bring us joy and can help us feel better, but that is not what's sustainable. These attachments to the world is what brings us this despair. Okay? And so I encourage you to build with those who help you to build from the inside out, so that you can always be able to tap into that inner peace when everything around you is your conditions are not the most peaceful. You can experience that, that inner joy and that inner love when you can't reach outside of yourself and gain that. That is what we should work on. That's what we want to develop towards, so that we can be sustained. So I pray now that those who are experiencing levels of what is called depression or deep sadness, deep levels of sadness or heaviness or anxieties or fear, or any of those different type of things, especially with this day and age and this time of the great shift of everything that's happening in the unseen, that is wonderful for us, but may have us feeling a bit heavy. I pray that those who are experiencing it will allow themselves to breathe, to rest, to lighten their hearts, to clear their minds, so that they can remember, remember the reality, and the reality is God. Remember the reality, and the reality is God. There is no other reality. The reality is God. May we be able to see that, feel that, remember that in all of our days, no matter what situation or circumstance we face. Shay, we give thanks for that. Let's drop into some meditation for this morning. We'll engage in some meditation and then we'll close for today. Find yourself in a comfortable position and just begin to engage the breath. Relaxing the body, taking a deep breath in through the nose and allowing yourself to release it gently, completely, either through the nose or mouth, whichever one is comfortable for you. As you inhale, allow that breath to expand the heart, the chest area. On those next few breaths, inhale deeply into the heart space, hold it for a few seconds, and then exhale. Let's do that a few times, 4 or 5 breaths in that way. Inhaling deeply into the heart space, holding it for a few seconds. And then slowly exhaling it. Let's do that 2 or 3 more times. Inhaling in deeply into the heart space, expanding the heart, expanding the chest, opening up, holding it for a few seconds. And then exhaling slowly and completely, all the way out, all the way out, all the way out. Couple more times, taking deep breaths in through the nose, deep, 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 opening the heart, open the chest. Holding that for a couple of seconds. And when you're ready, exhaling slowly and completely, allowing all the breath to release. As you're doing this, relax the body, drop the shoulders, relax the arms, releasing all thought. Just focusing on breathing and relaxing. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling in through the nose, deep into the heart. Holding it for a few seconds. And when you're ready, exhale completely, allowing the breath to release all the way out, returning back to your regular breath, but slowing the breath all the way down. Taking slow, deep, cleansing breaths. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling slowly and completely. Relax. Relax your entire body, releasing the forehead, dropping the jaw. Relax. Allowing your hips to release, legs relax, feet relax. Totally let go. In our walk, the best way to keep our hearts light is to surrender, to let go. When we hold on to life, to things, to people, to memories, to any of these things, our breath shallows, our shoulders and joints tense up. Our mind becomes stagnant, tight, inflexible. We invite the storms and the confusion. So in order to keep a flow of life, do your best to keep your heart light. Surrender. Rest as much as possible. Relax. Breathe. These are ways of surrender. And in our surrendering, let us surrender it all. Surrender all the situations, the circumstances, the goals, the dreams, the desires, the needs. Do the best you can to surrender. You can take it moment by moment, day by day, but let your goal continue to be surrender. In your surrendering, you consecrate. You make an effort to dedicate everyday thought to the reality of God. Giving room for your entire mind to be brought into divine mind. This is not something you make an effort to think about. This is something you relax and open your mind and heart to surrender to. You will notice as you breathe, as you relax, it's easier for the positive thoughts to come, for the remembrance of the Almighty to come. But first, you must relax, breathe, surrender, give room for their relief. Sometimes we feel in our surrendering, we are making room for destruction or chaos. Release that notion. Allow yourself to believe that in my surrender, I make room for my victory. Submit to that. Give up the fight. Give up the efforting, the striving. Allow yourself to surrender. As you continue to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth or nose, whichever one is comfortable, feel yourself surrender. All those things that bring anxiety, sadness, surrender it in this moment. It's all mind. Our fight is in the mind. Our holding on is happening in the mind. Abandon all thought. Yield. It is in lowering ourselves that we become great, that we rise up in victory. It was never taught to us that we get victory without the fight. We were taught to fight for the win, fight for the glory, fight for the goal. But in reality, when we surrender to the Almighty's will, which is the best, the greatest will over our lives, we don't fight, we surrender. We submit. We give up. Be not afraid to give up. Allow the Most High to wow you. As we get ready to close this meditation, as you are feeling relaxed, calm, surrendered, let us just be grateful. Be grateful for this thing we call life. Even sometimes when we don't feel the joy, the peace, the reality still remains that we are alive. And the reality of life is the reality of grace and mercy. New moments, new beginnings, new glories. We give thanks for that reality. And we open ourselves up for the victory, for the joy, the peace. We give thanks in advance for that victory. We baptize our life, our minds, our hearts, our entire territory. We baptize it. We baptize it by speaking grace and mercies over our lives. And by proclaiming that we know that everything is working out in the perfect way and the perfect will for our lives. Give thanks. Let's take one last deep breath in through the nose, taking it deep, deep, deep as you can go, and then holding it as long as you feel comfortable. And when you are ready, release. Come back to the present moment, maybe by wiggling your fingers and toes, giving yourself a little stretch. Give thanks. Okay, so we're gonna close per usual with the word from our Baba Muji from Whitefire. For those who have the book, the page is 141, passage 282. It reads, there must always be some distance between yourself and the phenomena that you perceive. When you are aware of your true self more than you are aware of the world, then somehow you have smoothly crossed over. When you are more deeply involved in your personal self and the world, rather than abiding in your unchangeable awareness self, you remain in exile from your own true home. When the mind is established in the true self, a beautiful vibration is present. It is like you are insulated against the impact of worldly commotion, vaccinated against the intoxicating effects of Maya. Something remains untouched, seemingly touched, yet untouched, apparently affected, yet unaffected, unaffectable, immaculate being. I'm gonna read that one more time. There must always be some distance between yourself and the phenomena that you perceive. When you are aware of your true self more than you are aware of the world, then somehow you have smoothly crossed over. When you are more deeply involved in your personal self and the world, rather than abiding in your unchanging awareness self, you remain in exile from your own true home. When the mind is established in the true self, a beautiful vibration is present. It is like you are insulated against the impact of worldly commotion, vaccinated against the intoxicating effect of Maya, of this world. Something remains untouched, seemingly touched, yet untouched, apparently affected, yet unaffectable, immaculate being. Shay, give thanks for that perfect word, per usual. Always the perfect word. It took me a while to really understand self, because we are so conditioned to believe in self as this personal, physical being. But I was just on a session yesterday and I shared a revelation that I had in a devotion one time, where I just was like, I gotta understand, what is this self that I hear the Baba Muji talk about, and this inner being, this inner guidance system, this inner. What is this? Because even in your affirmations, when you say, I am this, I am that, there's a deeper, I feel like it's something he's alluding to that's deeper than that, that it doesn't feel like I gotta force myself to believe it. It's not wavering. And what I came to is this I am, the I am identity and I am awareness. the I am that I amness, the isness, is literally the I existing within you. And this is literally the presence of God existing within you. And it's more so when you are quiet, when you have moved back from what he's saying and hear the world and the worldly commotion and the intoxicating effects of Maya. For those who don't know what Maya is it's like the result of the vibrations of the world in mind. So Maya comes, it comes as the mental effect of what's happening and what you see in this world. And it often shows up as fear and anxiety and despair and rushing, and it's not enough time, and yearning, and all of these different type of things. And it's intoxicating because it can feel like when you give your power and your attention to it, that you gain something from it. So it's intoxicating. But when you move away from that and you get into quiet and you calm your mind and you move away and you give room, you always get a introduction and reintroduction often to this presence within. It's a level of peace and understanding that only comes in that type of space. And this is the I. And it is peaceful. It is positive. It is limitless. It is all of the descriptors that we hold for what we call God. And it's inside of you. It has a presence inside of you. And if we can dwell in that, then we become it. And that's the I, that's the am in the I am. The I is here, and then we become that. So I am. But I am only that which is. And it's when I stay into that presence in consciousness that I experience that. And so in this passage that I'm reading, I'm hearing that I've experienced that. When we create distance from our work, this world, what's going on around us, and not just distance from that, but distance from the mental result of that. When we just take all those things off our minds, then we can be reintroduced constantly to this presence. So I pray that we all can experience that reintroduction to that presence on a daily basis. On a daily basis. I love how he said we become insulated against the impact of it and vaccinated against the intoxication of it. I give thanks for that. I give thanks for that. So we could seem to be affected, but we know it's no true effect, and we can continue to move. And give thanks for our immaculate beingness. Give thanks for our immaculate beingness. I give thanks for you joining me today. If you desire to show some love to OU Ministries, you may do so at the same place where you tuned in today on the website. I give thanks in advance for that love and that support. May you have a beautiful, reflective, and peaceful week this week, living from the inside out. I give thanks. I give thanks. Thank you. Thank y'all for joining me.